All right, here we go. After party 20, I think, right?
Wow.
We're at 20 already.
Crazy.
That's amazing to me. Yeah, we're going to talk about 60, 61, and 62. The titled From Above, Attack on Pisces, and the Final Set. Or just Final Set. So we're going to kick it off here with From Above, which is our introduction to our new character, Mia. So,
whoop, whoop.
Yeah.
Mia in the house. Euphemia.
Pretty much it starts out with a story, which I thought was really awesome, the way you guys sort of tell the story, and then the big explosion and go right into the role play. I thought that was really cool. So tell us a little bit about the creation of Mia and how that all came about.
It was a while ago. Do you remember, Leland? Because I'm struggling.
Well, I think right away you knew you wanted to be a cleric, right?
I think so. I took I don't know, Bill would know, a day or two, and then I kind of settled on cleric. It didn't take long.
Well, when we chatted, you were thinking about maybe a level or two of fighter as well.
Yeah, so I thought about taking a level, or I think maybe even just one level of fighter.
I think you would all. Yeah, I think I remember you saying you were thinking about bard or druid, which was kind of a little bit what was happening with Bryn. But then you kind of decided you wanted to try something different.
I looked into bard to see if it was better at a level 6, but when we did the one shot, I was not happy being a bard. So.
Well, that was mainly because you were fighting clockwork things. I think if you were not, it would have been better.
Yeah, I also think that I was hesitant to stick to cleric right away because I thought that that's what everyone wanted me to be, so I was trying to make sure that it was, I don't know. I felt like I was getting a lot of pressure.
No, you gotta be what you want to be. Don't be something just because we needed it.
Yeah, we need a cleric. We kept saying that, right? We need a cleric.
Yeah, but we made it this far without, so.
Some of you have, yeah. Half of you have.
The party will go on.
Once I started looking into clerics, though, then I started looking into their domains, and I stumbled upon a website that basically was recreating fictional characters in D&D, and then I was like, oh, I want to be Thor, basically, so that's where that came from. So, and then literally I was not creative and made the god I worship Thor. So,
yeah, but that's fine because even in the back of the player's handbook, it gives you Greek pantheons and all different types of pantheons, right, to play off of and add into your games. And yes, your character concept was predominantly why I had the returning hand axe do its little show thingamajigger. Of course, there may be more to that is unknown to the party, but also the extra control you have over it, as if basically it works like a spiritual weapon, right? You can throw it and leave it out there. So normal Thor can't do that with his hammer, but Lady Thor actually can, right from the comics. So that's why you have. I was like, oh, okay, this would be cool to let her be able to do that. So.
Yeah, and definitely I think when I was creating the character, because I'm still pretty new, I didn't want to miss anything. Creating a level 6 character was something else too, from the get-go, just a lot to keep track of. So I think even the first time we played, I didn't use some of the stuff that I could have, because it's a lot to keep track of. So. Yeah,
well, especially getting access to that entire spell list, being a first time, playing the spellcaster for the first time, that's a lot of shit. That's
crazy. I couldn't believe that. Yeah.
Yeah, I will say I think the Tempest domain is my favorite cleric domain, and very, very good choice, despite the current circumstances of the overarching threat. I felt kind of bad, but I didn't really want to say anything because your character was super cool.
Yeah, Mia is super cool.
Yeah, I totally forgot about lightning and resistance and all that. I know nothing about Krakens either. I basically saw one in Pirates of the Caribbean or whatever. I don't know. I'm new to all this, man.
Yeah,
sure.
I wouldn't have guessed that Krakens have resistance to lightning. I would have thought that would be a good damage type for a water creature.
I will say that Leland, one of the episodes, I think it was the last episode, said something, I think, as Campbell, that said, "Well, you could go to the library and learn about stuff."
Right,
and we just
he
all
did,
ignored it and
The
walked
mayor
away.
mentioned learning information too
Yeah.
about it, and like the whole party was like, "No, we're getting on a fucking boat. We're going."
None of us are going
That-
to a library.
That's the way
We're adventurers.
incorrigibles roll, okay?
Oh man.
Yeah, but the fact that the Kraken could call down lightning itself, to me,
That
was a
should've-
big clue
yeah.
that it was going to be immune or at
But
least
see,
resistant.
Yeah.
Playing D&D very often, there were several times in these 3 episodes, like several times, where you and John were both in character like, I was going to say the same thing. And it's like, because you guys have played before, you know exactly what's up. Like,
Yeah.
oh, there's probably a crowd of people gathered to discuss blah, 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 right? Like, and then you also were thinking the same thing about Campbell or whatever. So,
Well, I think it's great. And when I knew when you were going to call the lightning down, it had resistance. But I think if you did, you wouldn't know that, and Shaft wouldn't know that as a character, and you would try to use your most powerful thing. And I think that's great. That's where the characters learn stuff too.
Right. And of course, Mia was created well before, you had your character concept, and she was created before that whole thing, obviously, in Pisces, right? And seeing what the Kraken can do. So you
Yes.
you had 0 heads up, really.
however, there's like, you edited it to sound a little bit better, but like, we didn't do the backstory until after we had already recorded episodes 61 and 62.
Yeah, that's right.
Right.
So then I was a little bit, like, as far as role play, I didn't know exactly, I was trying to feel out how to play Mia, but I hadn't really played her backstory. And it's no joke that after Leland and I finished the battle with the Nyogi and everything, and that like freaking long stretched out goodbye to my parents that probably should have been cut shorter. We sat on Skype and talked for 2 or 3 hours and discussed like month by month where Mia would have been in the world of Aspara, and she collected knowledge for that year that she was in Aspara adventuring on her own. So I got even more information like off mic. I thought that was really cool that you did that. I didn't expect that.
Yeah, that was awesome that you were into doing it too, because I want your characters, despite how long you've been playing them, to feel like they've always lived in the world, obviously, right? And more importantly, we want it to sound that way to the listener as well.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, for sure.
And it also gives you, as a player, much more agency as well in some of your own decisions, and I think it empowers you a little more in your role play as well.
I think it also adds depth to the world of Aspara. Like, I think I said this last time around, but it's just fascinating to me to think about these other characters that exist and have existed while we've been playing that we're running into now. And, it adds believability to this world to think that, Mia's been here or there or somewhere else when we've been here or there, and she's been doing things and learning things.
And I mean, quite frankly, you guys, really, your paths have almost crossed on a couple of different times, I think, and a lot of there's a lot of influences in each other, right? Obviously, when the party goes somewhere, everyone there knows the party went there.
Right.
Very often there's some shit that happens, and like everyone's like, okay, the Incorrigible party was here. It's like
It reminds me of that scene in The Goonies when Chunk and Sloth are coming underneath the country club, and you're like, yeah, they've been through here.
yeah,
'Cause the pipes are all a mess.
Yeah. Well, I have to say that I really, really like these solo episodes, and Elena's gotten 2 of the 3 we've had now. So I will be killing more of your characters more frequently so we can have more solo introductory episodes.
I know we had a nice discussion about whether we should do the Mia solo episode after she was introduced in 61. Is that 61?
Yeah,
right?
that's right.
Yeah, we did, didn't we?
Or do it before. And I think we had a wise decision of putting that out there so everybody knew who she was, and then she was introduced into the story.
I think
thought
so
that
too.
Flowed
Yeah.
very well.
Yeah. What did you guys think of? So with Elena, with Elena's new character, I was like, okay, basically pick one of the 3 overarching things we have going on that you as a player would like some more information on. And Elena chose the Nyogi. So I was like, okay, great. So that's what you're gonna get some, because I like giving some additional information. Like Shakara got a bit on the ooze and stuff, and especially the introduction with Campbell was awesome. That was all Emily. That Emily incepted Campbell, right?
Part of my decision came from you, like, suggesting, I think, that I was from Barrick, and I was like, oh yeah, we've never, like, discussed that city, and then it's close to the Vorgareg Mountains, so it just made sense.
That's true.
I didn't know that that's what happened. I thought Leland decided all that, so I thought, okay, obviously we're just not paying any fucking attention to the Nyogi, and so Leland is going to jam that into her backstory episode, so you guys, hey, this is important. Stop worrying about all the other shit.
I mean, quite frankly, you're not. And
well, and part of me was curious. There's so much more that I know now, and the spaceship threw me for a loop, man. I did not. He took out a lot of pauses and like mouth agape, just like what do I do? I don't know what's going on. Oh man.
Yeah, can we just pause for a moment to reflect on the fact that there are spaceships in our D&D adventure right now? I find that amazing. I never would have guessed
there's not a marker to draw eyes on a rock, but there are spaceships, you know? like you gotta stick a charcoal. You gotta freaking...
I never would have thought that in a fantasy RPG that there might be interplanetary, other races from other planets. That's amazing.
That started way back in, I think, 2nd edition. Maybe I just advanced. That's the whole Mind Flayer Illithid.
Yeah, it's part of like these alien species kind of thing. Absolutely, and a lot of that is hinted at in the Nyogi lore itself too, as well. So there, like space is still a thing, right? There is still a space above Aspara, right?
Yeah. So yeah, there's so many different threads to D&D. The Illithid and the Githyanki War, and I mean, you can go down any rabbit hole you want to, and there's lore for miles and miles and miles.
Absolutely.
And just having a little taste of it, it can be a curse, even in any D&D campaign, if you know the monster and you know what it can or can't do as a player, and to be able to play that as your character, trying to figure out what it is,
right?
And I think we're with these bug eel creature things. I don't think we have any idea at this point, except for Mia.
The sashimi. I mean, Nyogi.
Yeah,
right. And that's not come up with the other characters yet.
No, mostly because until the
very last. Because I didn't know.
Yeah, exactly. Until the very last session, we hadn't done Mia's solo episode.
We did know that I was going to take the background of folk hero and like town hero and save Barrick. So when you guys are like, hadn't heard of me, I was like, I'm kind of a big deal, but I didn't know why I was a big deal yet.
Well, you haven't exactly had a chance to bring it up with us either. Yeah. We've kind of been thrown into this Kraken thing.
I'll save that comment for when we get to that part. I just thought of a Shakira part I really liked. Shakara, gosh.
I think I'm looking forward to you playing somebody who's really into themselves, like, not Tolstoy maybe. But
yeah, I think I definitely played it more up at first, and then after doing the background a little bit, I think I'm a little bit more scared and insecure about stuff. You'll hear something in the next episode, I think, that shows that I'm a little bit worried about, my image and living up to what I've told you guys since I met you.
Yeah, and you know what? I don't like it. We didn't really explicitly make it clear during your solo or in 61 when you met the party, like that all that episode 60 was a year ago for Mia. Like, it's not like it happened, like, last week, and she's like, let me tell you about what the fuck just happened to me last week.
Oh, yeah. Did we not make it that clear?
I don't think anywhere we, like, explicitly said, like, because Mia's 20, she's not 19, and session 60 was your 19th birthday.
Yeah, I still like, too, that you guys, like, at this point think I'm human and, like, that kind of thing, but that the listener's in on it for longer than, So I think that's cool, because you guys definitely, as far as Shaft and Shakar are concerned, while we played 61 and 62, you believed me to be human. Bill had a little bit of a heads up for when I created my character.
Right. So what made you want to be an Aasimar?
I wasn't... what was your character's name in the one-shot, Bill?
Drudge Jed.
Oh, yeah, Drudge.
Oh, you've been practicing.
He didn't really make me... It's the one line he can do.
Yeah, that's about it.
He's done now. Right? We do. Someone from Romania.
Boggles my mind.
Okay, someone's got a VPN changer and is like
Most
messing
likely.
with us.
Yes.
No, anyways, I wasn't like super intrigued when Bill did it because I don't know, the pictures that he had were like dark and scary and stuff, and I knew I wanted to play Mia really good. So, I don't know, but to be honest, when I started looking into what paired well with Cleric, the Protector Aasimar stood out specifically because it has a Wisdom modifier bonus. So that's a little like, what's the word that you guys used when you like...
Min-maxi.
Yeah, min-maxi. So it was a little bit min-maxi, but
Yeah, but that's not that min-max. I mean, a lot of times there's stereotypical race class pairs for a reason,
Yeah.
right? Like it's
then I read on to see that you can freaking fly for a minute and you got wings, and that
Yeah,
like
it's pretty
went
nice.
with me like holding my hammer up in the air and just like taking off, and I was like, yes, that is
Yeah.
what I want to do.
yeah.
So that's where that came from. I don't know where the disguise came from other than like I don't know, I thought it was cool if maybe she didn't exactly know and was coming into her own skin, and like, because Aasimars are pretty rare in Aspara, so to just sort of try to blend in more and not have a target on my family's back or anything like that.
Yeah, I like the amulet idea.
Yeah, that's cool. I think it's cool. I also think it can like add some depth to her character as she gets more comfortable with you guys and might take it off, leave it off, or put it on for like when we get into a city. I don't know. Just flavor. But I will say when I created my character, I was going to buy my skill points or whatever, but then Leland and Emily convinced me to roll for it, and I rolled sweet rolls. Like, I got some pretty high stats.
Well, you actually rolled shit in your backstory, though.
Oh,
I wrote
terrible.
down here that you had a lot of sixes. So
I
yeah.
couldn't roll over a 10. It was so bad. I think when we recorded it too, I probably a couple times was like, should we redo it? Like, this is supposed to be, chapter 2, like more polished. Like, we can just edit and pretend. And he's like, nah.
No,
No,
more
we're
polished
good.
doesn't mean cheating.
Well, is that cheating? I don't know.
Well, there was a point we were playing and you were fighting the Umber Hulk, and you're like,
Oh, yeah.
okay, it's like, what's happening? Like, what's going to happen right now after this? Like, what if this thing beats me? It's like, no, it's going to throw you off this cliff, okay? Get ready. Like,
Yeah, he told
you
me,
you
yeah.
like, in the moment, a bit of heads up. Like, these solos aren't, they're not,
There's a little
they're not
bit, yeah.
scripted, obviously, but, like, Mia can't die. Like, she's going to show up in the next episode.
I made a joke about you killing me off.
I really like that you had the thing throw her off the cliff so she could discover her wings and all that. I like
yeah, I
that a
thought
lot.
that was cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
and
did
that's
not
where
see
he
that
gave me a
coming at
little
all.
heads up.
I was like wondering what the heck's going on here. Like, how's this going to end for Mia? And then she gets thrown off a cliff, and I was like, okay, well, this is bad.
I want to know if you guys believed me and my acting skills when, he pushes me off and I'm like, what? Are you kidding me? Like, I kind of knew it was coming. I felt really cheesy just saying it.
I didn't know that you knew it was coming.
Okay, good.
Nah.
I was trying.
I mean, we're telling a story, right? So you're gonna have, but for the most part, we don't know what's going on. We don't know 99% of the time.
Yeah.
Even if we're told very clearly, go to the library, do those kind of things.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We hear it when we listen back. Yeah.
We don't need no book learning.
Nah, you guys are street smart. Streets ahead.
But are we, though?
Yeah.
No.
Thank goodness you guys found Captain Grimby again. I tell you what, because boy, oh boy, you would be lost without that man.
I did have a question just while we're on the character creation stuff from one of our very loyal listeners here. they were wondering if maybe I had chosen cleric because, if when Bryn had died, like if a cleric was around, like maybe she wouldn't have died. Like she could have revivified or whatever. So it's kind of like, I think we've already answered this. I was trying to fill a gap without feeling like forced to fill a gap in our party. But I never the answer is I never thought of it like that, but
I don't think there wasn't a lot of pressure. I don't think any of us really were like really being like, you should pick a cleric, you should pick a cleric.
We joked about it a few times.
Yeah. It was mentioned that it'd be nice to have a cleric. I'm sure we've said that a handful of times, but
staying on the topic, we had a question from Super McDad, right?
Yeah. So, question from Super McDad. Mia is obviously a deep scion plant. What? You think it's a coincidence she just turned up like that? I think not.
What? We know you have trust issues, Bill, but my gosh.
I think Super McDad has trust issues too.
Yeah, well, we'll get to that. I have some comments on that. We'll get to that. So what else is he continues, right?
Yeah, so he said, who ultimately decided to give up on the Raise Bryn project, raising Bryn from the dead?
New launching on Kickstarter, April 1st, the Raise Bryn project.
Funded in, how long does Gentle Reverse last again?
Funded in under a week.
10 days.
Oh, man.
Yeah. And then he says Shakira knew people that could do it, and we probably could have worked out some sort of deal.
Shakara, yes, not Shakira.
Oh, sorry.
Sorry, Shakira. That was... I didn't even notice I did it.
I honestly, I think off mic or on Discord or something, the spirit has to be willing, and at a certain point, I was too amped with my new character laid out. Because, I mean, when I was, like, broken up over Bryn's death, I just poured myself into looking into new options, and then I got hooked. So I was like, I don't think she's coming back, guys. So
Elena killed her.
I killed her. Sorry,
yeah,
David.
Elena killed her. We didn't, I mean, I guess he touches on us being able to make a deal, but all of us are running pretty low on cash. And from what we knew, this was going to be like potentially thousands
Shaft
of dollars.
is rich now.
Or at least many.
Yeah.
I think Shaft absolutely knew it was going to be extremely expensive, but he also knew it was in his best interest that she not be around anymore, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've got some extra cash now.
I think
Yeah.
Shakara probably knew somebody that would do it for a favor. I mean, it would have been a big favor. And we already
Right.
had 3 storylines going.
Would raising Bryn count as a good deed?
I don't think so.
That would be undoing a screw up.
Yeah, no, I don't think that'd be a good deed.
Undoing a screw up and bringing back to life a pretty chaotic rogue.
I mean, a life is a life, but I still don't think that's deed worthy.
And for the future, it's not like Mia could have still been part of the party doing that favor to raise Bryn, right? It's not like...
And I wouldn't have had to play Bryn, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Like, we could have dealt with it in some other way. It could have been whatever it was. She could have come back wrong. Oh, she should have came back wrong. Oh, that would have been great.
Yeah.
Good thing we burned her.
I do just think that, like, the more I thought about it, the more I was like, you know what? Like, it didn't end how we thought it would end, but it ended.
It
Like,
ended, yeah.
It
totally.
ended.
Yeah.
And now I didn't think of it when planning my character, but I definitely do prepare the spell Revivify if we know we're coming up against something.
Right,
So
right.
I've got it. Basically, I can, if you guys don't know, I can bring someone back, right? Like if they died a minute ago.
Within a
I think it's
minute, yes. If
within
they're
a
dead
minute,
within
yeah.
a minute, it's like a defib, basically.
Yeah. So I can shock them with my hammer
Yeah.
right to the chest. Clear.
And I think it's totally within the characters to believe they just saw Gozer and Thuft and Uncle, whatever
Vanette.
the hell his name was, Vanette. And, they don't want to see Bryn come back. Right?
Yeah,
I
that's
think,
true.
Right.
And I think Leland mentioned it at some point in time. I don't know if it was off mic or not, but, maybe your bag of holding may not necessarily seal out all the black.
Oh, right.
And, yeah. So I think when we brought up to burn the body and just get rid of it, not a bad idea. And which leads me to, our good friend Barry, who did come back.
There we go, yeah. Let's solve this mystery. I'm so confused.
Well, there was one last thing I wanted to say about the solo episode.
Okay.
Is
sure.
The weirdest part for me was playing Elena's dad.
Yeah, that was weird. That's what I meant by like the long extended goodbye.
Yeah. Actually,
sorry,
you know what?
I said dad.
That wasn't the weirdest part. The actual weirdest part was for a week after, Elena just kept calling me daddy. That was the weird part.
No. This did not happen.
And Bill did too. That was the even weirder part.
It was weird to be like, okay, love you, Dad. I definitely sounded like I was from Michigan when I said Dad in the episode. I know I did.
Pam!
Yeah. Every now and then Mia turns into Pam because I forget what Mia is.
So before we get on to the other stuff, I guess, anything else you want to talk about in the solo episode? About, the Niyogi, the things that why you decided to leave and go out and adventure in the world, anything like that?
I will tell you guys that the year that I spent in Aspara between Barrick and the Niyogi incident and Pisces, I spent investigating the Niyogi specifically. So, and like wagons and that whole situation. So, I think it'd be more fun to have it come out in roleplay. I'll need to, before we play like next, refresh my memory to just drop some tidbits for you. But, if I don't know that you guys know, then, because we've been really focused on this Black Goo and Kraken. Like, I've heard some background stories, but there's no way you guys would have told me about the Darklings and the sewer and that kind of thing, right? And Jolvi.
Right.
So, maybe someone mentions Jolvi and I perk up and I know I have something to chime in. I don't know. Or Hannah. Wink, wink.
Nudge.
That's it. But before you get to Barry, there was a whole other episode before Barry.
Yeah, but it was like, okay, Kraken, lightning, does nothing. Mia, all right, hello. Barry's here!
The TLDR. Call lightning does nothing. All right, Barry.
I guess we can talk about Shakara and worrying about, poor Falzarin and Shaft being left on their own, and deciding finally to get on the horse and go, tell Pisces that we have a Kraken coming. I think was a good, little bit of role play there, and then it's one of those things I think we're trying to do in the show is try to go, hey, we're okay. It's not going to get any safer. Falzer and I can roll some hit die and we'll be okay.
Yeah. Well, and I think Em mentioned last after party that she's like Emily doesn't like to split the party, right?
Yeah.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, did we touch on that last after party?
Yeah. But I still was like, when I got to Pisces, I was like, okay, I got to get back. Which really I should have just stayed and helped the town and screw them.
Yeah, so the next thing I wanted to talk about was when you came up from the guard in Pisces and you said, hey, I really need to talk to somebody. And he's like, yeah, whatever. Well, roll.
Oh, yeah.
And he's like, oh, dear God, we're all going to die.
I hate beasts.
Yeah, I got some chuckles out of that one.
Well, I'm glad it turned out all right, because like I remember after that play session, I'm like, man, I shit the bed that session. I was like, I'm glad you guys had. I was literally thought to myself, thank God they had some awesome roleplay, because everything else on my part, I felt like it was garbage.
No, that's fine. I thought it was funny.
No, I thought it was great.
I wouldn't have said that.
I just thought that was funny. I was listening back and I thought, wow, what a great changeover of the die roll.
Shakar's very convincing.
Yes.
Yeah, so we recorded that episode where she ran to Pisces and we ran into each other. We recorded that a week after Bryn died, like in real time. So I had a week to make my character. And then Shakara and I met each other and I didn't know how to play a good, happy character. And we actually re-recorded the meeting each other because it was so awkward. Because I didn't know what to do.
That, and I came down really hard on you. And I was like, well, I'm supposed to be welcoming you into this group, essentially, is what my role is here. And I'm, alienating you instead.
I don't super remember it, but it was, instead of being like, who are you? It was a little bit like, okay, let's re-record this. Hi, I'm Mia. Like,
it was more like, you fried those gars. What are you doing?
Yeah.
How could you?
What Elena was doing is realizing that it's really hard to listen to what's actively going on in the game while staring at spell cards trying to figure out what to do.
Yeah.
Yes.
Preach,
So
sister.
that episode, specifically that instance, I was like, even listening to the episode back, I did not hear half of the description that Leland gave, the tentacles, all this stuff, because I'm looking at my cards like, what am I going to do? What do I got? What do I got to throw at it?
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah, there have been so many times where, I'm playing Falzer and I'm trying to figure out what spell I'm going to use next, and I totally missed, a handful of sentences that are said, and you just kind of have to roll with it, try and fill in the blanks.
Repeating, I just cut out the repeat, right? Because listener heard it. So,
yeah,
it's not that big a deal. I really, really, really like so far, and obviously, like to date with releases is not entirely clear, but I think it's starting to form for the listener just the two separate party dynamics we have with Shaft and Falzarin versus Shakara and Mia. I really like the way some of this is going. I just like, I like it's not like you're actively against each other, but it does feel like there is this separation between the OG and the newbies. Yeah.
The cool thing about Mia right now too is that she's so like oblivious to that division. She doesn't see it yet. Like she definitely thinks Shaft's just a great guy. He's funny. He's quick. Whatever, right?
And he's not a dwarf.
Yeah, I did that up. That was Elena having some fun. Just like when Shaft's like, well, there's a moon out, It's a good thing there's a moon out. Good thing you can see, guys. In improv, you gotta say yes and,
I love, oh man. Before I continue, was there anything else about 61 we wanted to touch on? I think, we had Bryn's funeral, for God's sakes, in 61. How did we gloss over that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
yes.
I hope the keen listener picked up when Bryn was burning, I played the same music that I played whenever Bryn had a visit from Ciari. She kind of went out on that same little tune.
Ooh.
Yes, nice touch, very nice touch. Yeah, I was feeling emotional. And partly because there had been, I had played Falzarin as being a little bit annoyed with Bryn at times, and then I think he felt really guilty, and I did a little
As
bit
he
too.
should.
That, Elena's first character got killed partly because of my character dragging her along into
the last
this.
exchange Falsey and Bryn had was basically you two bickering.
Yeah.
Yes, I know. I felt bad, legitimately bad.
That's right. Shaft was lying to me about treasure and crap. Oh no, that was Brendel. That was Brendel too.
Yeah, it wasn't Shaft.
No, it
Shaft's
was.
always on the up and up.
I mean, to be honest, losing her in that fight is what hit me hardest, and then saying goodbye, I was already ready for the next thing. But
Sure. In that moment, I really liked. It was short, but just the exchange Falsey and Shakara had, where Shakara was like, "No, Falsey, and you didn't hit her. Like I hit her."
yeah.
That was really good. I like that.
So do we want to talk about Shaft's reaction to the tiny hut? That was pretty good.
Yeah.
Why haven't you been doing this?
So I wanted to draw attention, like, in role playing, when you see something new and you have no idea what it is, to, show what would you do in that situation. And I of course, I've played a wizard before. I sort of knew what the tiny hut did, but I wanted to, draw attention to somebody. What the hell? Why haven't you been doing this for a while? And it sort of makes fun of suddenly when you level up, suddenly you can do new things, right? And 5 minutes ago you couldn't do it. Now suddenly it's just
I believe what you actually said is, this is the most useful thing you have ever done.
Yes, that is a quote.
Friend would have finally
Perhaps
thought you
accurate.
had value.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If only she could have
Oh,
seen.
man.
that part.
I like to think Bryn was looking down.
No. She's looking up and frowning.
Oh yeah, she's looking up.
I definitely liked that quote too, but I pictured like it was like Shaft in a candy store, a kid in a candy store, like just like looking at it from every angle, figuring out. Oh, I loved
Yeah.
the way you were describing it. It was so good.
I enjoyed that part. That was pretty fun. It came in handy when we killed. I back going to killing Barry. So let's talk about Barry.
Oh man, another like wound. I felt so, and I also felt bad because part of me suspects that Barry might not have been hostile.
There was
To
no
us?
Like we killed the poor
Might not have been
guy.
hostile to us, you mean? Because he definitely killed that cultist.
Yeah, but I mean, he came up and curled up right beside the tiny hut. He probably smelled us in there and recognized our scent and was.
He would
waiting
smell
to be
Bryn's dead
reunited
body
with
and
us.
then like kill you.
Shakara didn't know Barry. Shakara knows Barry is undead. Shakara would kill Barry.
I know.
Well, once again,
Mia too.
Yeah,
I mean,
one of my favorite parts when we were trying to be quiet and you were going, "What is that?" We're going, "Barry, Barry."
and I was like, now Shaft is lactose intolerant. It's canon. He had some bad cheese, and then nothing escapes the hut. You know, that was
right.
such a good joke.
I just love that.
Just hot
Falls
boxing
in
it.
and was like, I'm not going out there. 8 hours isn't up yet. I'm not going out there. No. Wait, Shaft. Wait, I ain't going out there.
Well, we'll
Don't
have
do
a
anything.
Barry alarm clock, is what Shaft said.
Why did you want Bill? Why did you want him to wait till the hut was done before killing Barry?
So he was rested, I assumed, because he's a little baby wizard with no spell
Yes.
slots.
He's got no AC, man.
Yeah, exactly. But I was just worried about, something going south and maybe more attention being attracted to us or who knows what. I was just like, you know what? He's just laying there. Let's just leave him lying there.
Let
Sleeping
Barry's
Barry's
lie.
lie.
Undead Barry's
Yeah, there you go. Jinx. We all just said it.
He's not hurting anything. Let's see what happens after we get our long rest.
Yeah, I think Shaft thought, first off, every time we've brought him out, he's died relatively quickly, usually by our own hand.
Right?
Secondarily, every time he dies, he turns back into this little wooden thing, and here he is, not in this wood. So I thought he's some kind of a I don't know, zombie type thing. If I kill him and everything's cool, he'll just turn back into the little wooden thing, right? Like he always has.
But, I mean, Leland pointed out that he was already not wooden for over a minute.
Yeah, but I mean, from a perspective of the character, Shaft would not have thought about any of that.
Okay, I guess.
I mean, I don't think Barry's ever lasted a minute.
Oh, hell no. You kidding? Like 2
Not even
rounds.
Yeah.
close.
So how did he escape? Like, when we were in Erica's cave, you picked him out of the water, put him in your pocket. Like, you had him at that point. How did you lose him?
I rolled 20 on initiative while I was
In the lake.
swimming away from the
Tool.
crabs.
Yeah, the tool.
And he burst out of my pocket and instantly drowned, floated to the top, sucked in the black goo.
Well, yeah, so here's what happened. We made a bunch of jokes of whether or not Barry could hold his breath, and then we completely forgot that Barry existed. and
Yeah.
and I was thinking,
Right.
I was like, man, one day at work, like a couple weeks after we recorded that, I'm like, okay, we totally forgot about Barry, and I forgot to post a picture. I will post a picture with this after party. I had one little sticky from that day at work. I was brainstorming, and it just said, "Give party Barry," and that was all this sticky note said.
You did show us a picture of it. I remember that.
So he wasn't hostile.
I will neither
knew it.
confirm nor deny that you could have made Barry
Bill.
a companion for the party.
It doesn't matter if he was going to be a companion. He wasn't going to turn back into the wood. We're going to be walking around with this wide-eyed, diseased-looking badger. Giant badger, by the way.
Yeah.
It through town and stuff. We're already a chaos to everything we touch.
I really think Mia and Shakara wouldn't have it. Like, Mia kills undead. Like, no,
Right.
no.
Yeah, no. We wouldn't
No.
have walked around with an undead badger.
Yeah, I totally get that. I think I think part of me is just like I always think back to when Leland was narrating, Barry like looking back over his shoulder. I forget who fireballed him, if it was Ben or me.
You're just riddled with guilt about everything, aren't you?
And I just think this poor Badger, he's been put through so much
You know what?
abuse.
Falzarin has a lot of issues right now and hang-ups.
You did write that as a character flaw on your sheet, right?
Yeah, I was.
Trust
I
issues.
actually wasn't joking. You should add that as a flaw on your sheet.
Super trust
Absolutely.
issues. I will say, though, that, like, Shakara, I was getting a little bit more suspicious hearing it back. You just really gave Campbell a lot of information, and none of us interrupted you. just let
I
you
did.
go.
I tried to.
Falzarin
I know,
tried
Shaft did
Falzarin
try
tried to a little bit. When she got onto the Tritons, Falzarin's like, yeah, I don't want to, don't want to overwhelm you with information and waste your time.
But
here,
you got to
so.
I've known Campbell a lot longer than I've known any of you.
Yeah.
But in your
Like, weeks
backstory,
longer.
is he a deep scion?
Well, no. But that doesn't mean anything. We all know
He
that.
is now. He is now.
I will say every day at work when something goes horribly wrong, which it usually does, I think to myself, Wunderbar!
Wunderbar.
Oh, yeah, Campbell. Oh, I love Campbell. I love Campbell and Grimby. Campbell should have got on the boat with you guys. He should have agreed to go with you.
No,
did
because he
invite
might have died. No. If anybody that travels with us might die.
I mean, that's true.
I was going to bring that up if no one else did, that I love how we tried to get Leland to have two NPCs that we would have to play at the same time
Always.
in the party.
Remember when he was Thuft and Brendel talking to each other?
Well,
Yeah.
the next episode, there's even a
Classic.
third NPC in which you try to recruit onto
That's
the
true.
boat. So stay tuned to see who.
That's true.
Yeah, that was fun. I enjoyed that.
Oh, man.
Okay, so that when we were in town, it brings me up to another thing. When Falzarin wanted to get everybody's attention.
Oh, yeah, man.
Another great moment where Shaft was going to pull his weapon and act like I'm not with this guy. If we need to kill him, I'm in. But I just hid, and then I think Shakara really pulled her weapon somewhat too.
Well, yeah, because he shot off
being
his
startled.
finger. So that I didn't know if there was a threat, if he saw some threat. So I was going to be ready for whatever was going to attack us. Which was
Yeah,
nothing.
so what, Bill? What was your thoughts there?
Well, I mean, partly I thought it'd be a little bit dramatic.
A little bit.
But
Okay, Falzarin.
You know that could have went horribly wrong, right?
Falzarin's a little drama queen.
yeah.
He's
Yeah,
like the
that
type
could've
of
been
person
bad.
that's like, I don't want no drama, but then he like creates it like purposefully.
No, I mean, we needed to. As soon as I heard all of the docks and the port is closed, I was like, "Oh crap, we're screwed." And then so I was like, "Well, somehow we gotta, do something to convince this mayor. Firstly, we need to get her attention amongst this huge crowd of people that are all jibber jabbering and upset and shouting things and yada yada. And then, secondly, we need to convince her to rescind the closing of the ports and let us take a ship out.
So why not scare the shit out of her?
Yeah.
I mean, come on. Everybody loves an Eldritch Blast.
Well, it worked.
Yeah, thanks for rolling with that, Leland.
Well, it's so, yeah, man. What's going, Falsey is a wreck right now because he like sits outside
so erratic.
the jacked eel with his ear pressed to the door, not knowing what to, do I go in? Do I?
His decision making is totally out, like
Okay,
all over the
well.
place. Just crazy.
It's becoming quickly irrational, it seems.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He's becoming the mad, like, weird wizard.
Yeah. Do you got a mercury lining in that Kappa casting there, buddy? Or what's going on?
I actually kind of like it. I think it makes Falzarin really interesting
Yeah,
to be,
me
like,
too. I'm
super
digging it.
chaotic because of this Brendel thing.
Oh, I think it totally makes
It
sense.
screwed him up so much that, like, now his alignment has even maybe changed, like, just crazy.
Well, he's always been chaotic.
Yeah, but you're kind of lunatic
Leaning towards
now.
neutral instead of good.
I just don't think you're going to be trusting of anybody after going through what you've went through.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think any person would have some trust issues after that. But I mean, we saw a band of cultists walking towards Pisces, and then we get to Pisces, and all of a sudden, where is everyone? So
I wasn't worried about that. I was pretty sure it was a town square situation.
Well, the music that was playing at the time didn't hint at it being so.
I know. I liked that the music made you think that, though. I liked that.
So I don't think it's too far-fetched to be like, hey, you know, what if a bunch of cultists and whoever's involved with the cultists potentially had a plan to have a coordinated attack on Pisces once this Kraken was unleashed.
Totally.
When you talk about the music, I was listening to the episode this morning, and I got to work, and I still had like 10 minutes left, and I was listening to the point where Grimby Chum said he was going to take us on the boat, and the music changed to this moment, and I was just sitting there. I was like, "Yeah, Grimby." It was all the music.
Grimby.
It's like I'm like he's like the taxi driver, but man, he's the best taxi driver.
Yeah.
So the music makes a big difference, I think.
You're not allowed to kill off Grimby, Leland.
I hope he makes it. Quite honestly, it's in your hands. I hope he makes it.
Poor Grimby.
I'm sure the seas are completely safe.
Hey, the sea, she be a crew mistress, I tell ya.
I don't think anybody that travels with us is going to have good odds.
Yeah, this is as safe as it gets. And I'm like, Mia's like, I like good
Second
plans.
guessing.
And
Yes.
Shaft is like,
Second guessing joining up with us.
Yeah, I mean, I think for sure if Nyogi conversation happens sometime soon, I'll be more likely to stay with you guys longer, but...
I like when Falzarin said, we're in a port town, we're in Pisces. And he says, you've probably heard of this island off the coast.
I know. It's right there.
They're describing it on the map. To the southwest.
Oh,
It's a
man.
massive landmass out there. You might have heard of it.
Right off the shore.
Oh, hey, you can see it from here. Look at that.
Yeah. Get on the roof and you can see the top of it over there. That
Oh, man.
place.
Those type of moments are so Falzarin. I love it.
They really are.
I mean, come on. Port Randus is much closer.
I mean, I won't comment on if they're Bill comments, but I'll call them Falzarin comments, but they're...
I'm just
Bill
trying to play
has
the
the
character.
mind of a goldfish, so he likes to say things over and over again. Did you guys know he can swim really fast and hold his breath for a really long time?
Why didn't you tell us?
I'm not sure if I mentioned
He
this.
doesn't know how to use his breathing ability, for Pete's sakes. We've seen a future episode. I'm going to have to edit around that.
I've been screwing that up for some time now because it's not an innate ability I have. It's a spell.
Yeah,
I
it
can cast.
basically acts as a
Way
free
to
spell,
go.
but I don't think it's been abused, though. Like,
No, but I always describe
as
it
being
as,
able to
as
just
like,
do
An
it.
ability.
Yes.
You describe it like you're Michael
Yeah.
Phelps or something. It's like, okay.
Well, it's been one of those things he's been holding on to for so long. Now he gets to finally let it out, and everybody doesn't care. So,
Shaft let it out, and you know what? It didn't escape the hut.
what's in the stays in the hut, right?
It wasn't that.
So much pent up pressure is finally just being let loose.
I'll tell you who did care. Brendel. Brendel cared, Falzarin.
Yes.
Yeah, that's true.
He
Brendel
cared quite a
cared.
bit about your abilities.
Yeah.
Probably can't answer this, but did Falzarin's other friend actually die? The reason that Brendel came back?
Oh, probably not.
I'm betting probably not. That was probably a bunch of BS
Definitely.
from that snake in the grass snake in the grass Brendel.
What's his name, John? What's Brendel's name?
Was it in one of
I'm
these
a deep
episodes,
scion.
or it might be the next episode I was editing? Like, I called Falzarin Brendel in the middle of a sentence, too.
It's okay. You called me a Bryn a few times, too.
It's tough to get your name straight when you keep dying, dropping like flies here. It's like,
I know. You were like Bryn. You did it a couple times, but it's all right. Well, I have a couple questions. Do you guys have anything else to say before we move on to listener questions?
Go for it.
Did we cover all the episodes?
Yeah, bro.
yeah, 62 basically ended with you guys talking to Campbell and Shikaro's excellent rant about the adventure. That was
Oh, yeah.
so good.
I thought that was great. That was excellent role playing.
I think that just pissed Shaft off. I was going to say Shaft is over sitting down on a chair listening to this with his head in his hand, shaking his head like, why are you just spewing all this information out on him about what's going on? I don't think Shaft really liked that at all.
I pictured Shaft. You know how he cleans his fingernails out with his rapier? I pictured Shaft like trying to clean his fingernails out and just like so frustrated he's like making his fingers bleed because he's just like cringing so hard that
Nick's a little
Shakara's
too deep.
like, shut up.
Well, there's a part where Shaft like he's like, whoa, who knows what he was? Like, we don't know what Brendel really was.
Yeah.
Well, I would think,
He was a quack.
Falzarin would be like untrusting of Campbell at this point too, like everybody, right? So we wouldn't want to be saying anything about anything from a Falzarin's perspective either.
It almost sounded like Shakara was going to launch into talking about Falzarin's powerful friends, the Tritons, and that's when Falzarin kind of stepped in and was like, well, yeah, I don't want to, keep you here all night telling the story, so...
I wasn't going to say that, just that you had friends, and I was going to leave it at that because that is your information, and if you wanted to share it, that would be up to you.
Yeah.
Just that we have another quest that we're going on, and we may need some help from him.
Right. That little rant you went on, Shakara, was the part I was going to bring up earlier. Like, I just loved it, man. It was so...
It's just,
so
you know,
good.
I mean, she's out on her own for her first time. She knows Campbell better than any of you guys, and so she's catching up with her friend and telling him
Like,
about
so excited.
all the exciting things that have happened. Exciting in air quotes.
Deadly things.
I think Shaft is struggling because he really wants you to trust him and like him, right?
Yeah.
So he's going to be doing everything he can not to get in your way of of doing what you would normally do. But he's very frustrated because he doesn't know how to
Shut me up.
Sell it. He doesn't know how to sell himself to you guys yet, and I think that's he and Falzarin. I think he's sort of got an understanding with Falzarin to a degree, but he doesn't know Mia at all, and Shakara's seems to be way too good, right? She's going to cause him issues. That there's going to be some point in time where he's going to have to, and I think some episodes coming up sort of lead into a little bit of those kind of things. But that's what I like about having characters with these all different end goals is the interaction between them.
And I think Mia's good too, but I think Mia is good but more gullible than Shakara. Like, I think Shakara is a little bit more perceptive, maybe. Like, I think I'm playing Mia as, like, pretty trusting of you and a little bit, like... persuaded, more easily persuaded.
I think you were both very young, and I think it shows in your roleplay, which is awesome.
Yeah, that's a good way to do it. Yeah,
Yeah, Shakara is, only 15
Yeah, but
or
she's
something?
like an adult for a Dragonborn.
15 adult for a Dragonborn, but only on her own for 3 months.
Ooh, little
I've
baby.
been living at home, basically taken care of, till just 3 months ago.
Well, I mean, it's the same as being 20 years old. 20 years, you're technically an adult. That's adulthood, but you're still 20 years old.
Yeah.
I thought it was funny when Mia said, "So Shaft, you're in charge of the group," and immediately, absolutely not.
And
Yeah,
everybody
yeah.
else was like, no, he's not the leader.
I definitely said that on purpose because I think that Mia would have thought that. Because you're definitely the one that, like, says something here and there, and we're listening to what you say, and, like, you're influential.
But I don't want to have anything to do as far as being a leader of this little organization.
For argument's sake, who would be the leader right now? I don't know.
Falzarin, obviously.
I don't really think so, though.
Not Falzarin.
For this particular moment where we're fighting the Kraken, I think it's Shakara.
Yeah.
The Shakara has proven to be quite assertive in the short amount of time that the listener has known her,
Yeah.
I think. So.
I mean, the Eldritch Blast, kind of gutsy. I think one of the reasons why
Gutsy?
I wouldn't consider Falzarin to be the leader is because he's being so erratic.
Yeah, I don't know if gutsy's the right word.
It's not really it's not Falzarin's personality type to lead. He's an observer and has no desire really to be in the limelight and have a bunch of people looking to him.
Eldritch Blast
That makes me wonder why, Elena, you had Mia say, "I'm just a follower. I'm following. I'm a follower," and very adamantly.
During roleplay, wanted to like wink at you guys, and she currently met you for less than a day. She's along for the ride, however you want to address the Kraken. So I wanted to let you guys know as you're role playing, like, wink, wink, I'm not going to come up with any ideas. I'm following along. Because I think maybe a week from now, sure, I'd feel like maybe I have a place where you guys know me, I could suggest something. But like a day in where I'm just now joining and facing some... See, and that's another thing where she's not as confident as she's trying to appear more confident than she is.
But she's kind of a big deal, right?
Yeah, but she's telling you that. It's like a front.
Okay.
Like she is strong and she could be a great leader, but she doubts herself deep down and is scared of the Kraken. The Kraken is like literally immune to her most powerful attack. Like, she's scared of the Kraken, which is why she's going with you guys.
Sure, that makes sense. Just again, stereotypically cleric, like when I think cleric, like unlike paladin, I don't think leader when I think cleric, right? Right. Like a cleric literally is a follower. That's what, it's what they're worshippers. That's what they do. That's what their shtick is. It's so it's interesting that you say that, though.
I think if Mia had enough successes come her way and like some more triumphs, where she's been really grinding for like a year without too much success with the Neogi.
Right.
If she had some more successes that lined up, her cockiness could come back and she would consider herself more godlike, and probably, her ego would get bigger. But right now it's not. It's a front if she's saying things like that, which you guys don't don't need to know that, but that's how I'm
right.
Yeah, I'm scared.
No, I think it'll play itself out. I mean, I know we have stuff already recorded that's gonna change a little bit of that, and I'm excited to see the cockiness and stuff come out a little bit with how Thor has blessed you. I mean, that's pretty big.
Yeah, and I think it definitely came out more at first because I was used to playing Bryn too, so I think I started playing more cocky than I think I want Mia to be, but I can play it off as it being, a show. But
sure. Yeah.
But yeah.
I think that's a really interesting layer to her her personality and her character, because she is kind of badass. Like, Falzarin is very impressed with Mia, and as Falzarin sees more about what Mia can do, like, he only becomes more and more enthralled and
erect,
wowed by all of the things that Mia can do, and yet Mia is insecure at times,
which you don't know yet, but yeah.
Right.
That leads me to a question about Falzarin seeing Mia's significant access to like crazy amounts of magic without having to study and transcribe it like a wizard, or does a warlock have to study too?
It's still quite different than a wizard, yeah.
Okay, well, I guess compared to warlock and wizard, or warlock versus wizard, like how does it make you feel to sort of have another magic user in the party with the complete access to their spell list, even as Bill and not Falzarin, stuff like that?
Falzarin is not really the jealous type, I don't think. He's always eager to learn and experience and see new magical things and study them. He's a student of magic, right? He's been studying for years and years, and that's what he does. So I think he finds it really, really intriguing and interesting to see. Likely, I don't think there would be much in the way of clerics in Heraklion, so he's probably had very, very little experience with clerics, and so I think he finds this very interesting, but I don't think jealous. It's certainly it's pretty awesome that Mia has access to all of these spells without the hardship that wizards have to go through to get this spell and that spell, and it's slow going to increase the number of spells that wizards wizards get access to.
So do warlocks have like an innate ability? The warlock spells, do you just know them, or do you?
So like the warlock, they're imbued with their power, right, from their patron. A wizards can teach themselves through their intellect, and a divine caster like a cleric is also imbued in much a similar way as a warlock. But it's also hardship. It's a different type of hardship, though. Like, it's not just like, pick up. Like, I would think if you look at a sorcerer, sorcerers have natural magic abilities. Nobody gives a sorcerer their power. Sorcerer is born with that power, and there's also a hardship there for them to maybe realize and come into the full extent of that power that they naturally have as a result of their bloodline or whatever it is. But I do like it. There's still hardships there for Mia's type of magic, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, the warlock, has to pay in one way or another for their magic. Like, I think it's a bit more unpredictable and chaotic. You don't know what you're going to be called upon to pay to this powerful being that's giving you power, and you're kind of, got a ball and chain.
We haven't heard of your old ball and chain in a while.
Yeah.
We sure haven't. I've been trying to not bring it up. And,
well, I think that plays out well as Falzarin, though. He's like super paranoid, and he's like, all right, screw that for now. Like,
trying to squash any conversation that brings up Isabella, so that hopefully Leland will forget about the fact
no, buddy. Your name's on the bottom of that contract. But also keep in mind the amount of game time that has passed, right? So it's kind of may depend on what her expectations of the results, right? Of how quickly she expects you to come about those results that she wants. But hey, clock's ticking. Clock is ticking.
That eldritch clock.
What are you
going
to tell people, like, if you run into people in Heraklion, what are you going to tell them about Brendel, if anything at all?
Ooh, that's a good question.
Boy.
That is from Jessica, our fave.
Yeah, Jess always has good questions, man.
Do you suspect anyone else at home of being in cahoots with Brendel, another deep scion, potentially?
What are you going to tell Brendel's wife?
Yeah, man.
I mean, she's likely a deep scion as well.
Then what are you gonna do when you see Brendel's wife? You're gonna Eldritch
Blast. Yeah.
Give her the old EB.
Because I have a feeling if we get to shore in Heraklion, you're gonna run into some people it's Leland. Like,
I hope they have great accents.
You know what? You've got some paranoia going on, and it's gonna be interesting.
Yeah, that's a lot of really great opportunity for some RP. I haven't given it much thought. I suppose
Should I start following you like secretly around the house and like so you like get into character, like looking around, like come up behind you and blow on your neck and then run away? Like,
maybe put some like really clear plastic tape right at like forehead level in some of our door frames, so when I walk through I run into it, and then I'm paranoid every time I go through a door frame. Yeah, I don't know. I think Falzarin is going to be very paranoid when he gets back to Heraklion. And, who does he tell? Because anybody he tells, if he's not certain that he can trust them.
Oh, crap, you guys. Leland just took notes. This is not good.
I did just jot something down.
He was looking down and scribbling.
Down. What have you done, Jessica?
We need to develop some kind of test,
Jess.
a deep scion test.
Yes.
Give them Brendel's wife.
The other thing is that Falzarin doesn't really have a lot of close friends, and like he didn't get along very well with a handful of the
elders,
magic users, and the people who he would have been studying under or alongside, because he had some beliefs and he kind of was a bit strayed from what was taught there. They were all about the traditions and sticking with what's known and what's been done for centuries. And he wanted to go and find new magic and discover new things that don't fall in line with the traditions that have been going on for a long time in Heraklion. So that hits Falzarin especially even more so more deeply because Brendel was like the one person that he was good friends with that didn't hold a grudge against Falzarin for Falzarin's differences from a lot of the other people on Heraklion. So, Falzarin's world's been turned upside down.
Brendel loved
with
you
this.
for your differences, man. Brendel loved you.
Let's face it, if your closest friend and most trusted friend is Shaft, you're fucked.
Right? There's a quote.
Things are looking not very good for Falzarin. Poor Falsey.
Oh, effing Brendel. That guy.
Yeah, we got a little bit of the after party's explicitness spilling into the one episode there with Shaft talking about Brendel. Had to bleep that.
That was a touching moment.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was good. Was that all Jess had?
Yeah, that's all for now. I mean, I think we had a comment. We want to congratulate our giveaway winner.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yes. Hugh Melrose. Congrats, Hugh. So his dice are, I mean, they may have arrived already by now, but if not, they're in the mail.
Let's ask Emily about the dice bag.
It's coming along. Emily made some decisions that she's regretting, but it is coming along.
Emily cares so much. She's just putting a lot of effort into it.
Emily definitely made things harder on herself than they probably needed to be.
It's gonna look so good,
awesome.
though. Like,
I hope so.
So good.
If you wonder why your turtle is spotted red, blood, sweat, and tears, Hugh. Blood, sweat, and tears.
You probably get some DNA off my straight pins, yeah.
She's using some fanged arrows. Stitch it together.
He picked some really nice dice, so I'm excited for him to get those.
So next year, when he actually listens to this episode, if he just started listening,
Right.
when he won the die, then you can post a picture. So like 8 months from now, there'll be a picture show up and go, this is what I picked.
It's building suspense. Hey, we don't know that he's not.
Of course he's a listener. It was a joke.
It was fun to do our first giveaway and ridiculously far more successful than I expected. I was hoping, maybe we get 25 or 50 retweets, and then within the first day, it's like already 100 or 2, and I was beginning to sweat because I'm thinking to myself, oh boy, we've got a lot of work on our hands here. But it was really cool to see all the people that participated.
Yeah, it was a great response.
It was a great idea you had.
Well, thank you. I'm excited. I'm excited to give stuff away too. It's fun to give back to the community. So that's cool. And we do, I think we've already mentioned this, but there's going to be 2 more giveaways, so stay tuned. Both of which are going to be awesome. Somebody will get a chance to win one of D&D books. I think we haven't quite finalized a decision on what those are going to be, but I think, they can pick from a handful of different D&D books, whichever one they want. And then John has very graciously agreed to paint a mini, which I want to enter myself for that because John is a fantastic mini painter.
Yeah. Thank you. No, I'm looking forward to doing that. I enjoy painting a lot, so it'll be neat to work with somebody to find out what they want and put something out there.
He is painting a reasonably sized mini.
Yeah, we'll get into all the details of what I'm willing to do at that point. Yeah,
I think we'd said that anything up to the size of the mini from that Simon game, Death May Die.
No.
Yeah, just go out and Google Death May Die by Simon.
No.
Death May Die.
Yeah, but how hard is that to paint? You just take a can of spray paint.
Quality. The quality goes down as the size goes up.
If we do ever kill this Kraken, I will buy a mini and paint it. So it's like a trophy somewhere. Like I'm going to get into mini painting just to do it.
Well, y'all better make haste on taking this thing out when it's still a baby then, because
I know.
I bought some minis to do that for your characters, and then they started dying off. So,
Oh, jeez.
I have an in memoriam shelf for all of the IP Dead characters.
Oh, the shelf of death.
Oh, that's funny. You have a giant badger mini too. You can paint up.
oh yeah.
Oh, poor Barry.
Oh man.
Well, this is another great batch of 3 episodes. I think chapter 2 so far, we're killing it. So
Killing
Yeah.
it.
pats on the back, backs all around.
Wait for the ride to Heraklion, people.
Woo!
Buckle up.
Oh, yeah. Good NPC episode coming up and more
yeah.
on the way.
Yeah, that will be in the next
Yes.
batch of 3 for sure. So
Marty and Tony from Rolling Dice and Taking Names. They very kindly offered to spend some time with us.
Hilarious.
Samuel Coltis and his brothers, twin
And
brothers.
Blake Lakely's grandfather. That's his name.
Dean
Drake
Coltis.
Lakely.
You guys met Sam and Dean.
Sam and Dean.
They hunt monsters for a living.
John doesn't get that.
It's that one show you like
It's
that I
the
didn't.
yeah, it's a TV show. I know that much.
Monster of the Week show, whatever. What is it called?
Supernatural.
Supernatural.
I have a very low tolerance for shows like that. I can get about 3 or 4 into it, and I'm like, well, I think I've seen everything. You're just gonna, Well, I walk through the living room as she's watching them, and I take about 5 minutes, and then I'm done with it. I go down and paint. That's how you become a better mini painter.
Get married.
Get married.
Get married. Yeah, I like when he goes down in the basement to paint because then I can watch my shows.
Yeah.
I've dabbled a little bit in mini painting, but I need to get some headgear so I can see the fine details. Some magnification.
Or a steadier hand.
That would help too.
It's like coloring a coloring book in 3D with a little brush.
Yeah, man.
So nothing like coloring a coloring
It's
book.
very
It's not.
It's
you
very
don't-
relaxing.
It is. You put some music on our podcast, and you just go with it, and you get better as you do it.
We should reach out to mini painters and say, hey, we got 62 episodes. We got
There
a
you go.
recap. Like,
Put us
get
on
it
while you
on.
paint.
Your minis, man.
Maybe we can get Sarastro to listen to some of our show while he's painting.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
That guy is fantastic. He's one of the best, in my opinion, mini painters out
And
there.
a very nice guy, too.
If you want to learn to mini paint, I'd start there. You just learn the techniques.
Oh, we're back to doing shout-outs that we stopped doing
That's right.
15 after parties ago, are we?
I think we just forgot about it. You didn't remind us. That's for sure.
You know what? On the topic of shout-outs and us not doing them,
Oh, great.
I got to give a shout-out.
The T-HUD Popcast.
Very touched by This Game Is Broken doing a shout-out to us.
It's true.
Their first ever shout-out. That's a show that I've
We're Not Wizards shouted us out,
for
too.
a long time. Did they?
Yeah.
Follow Friday?
How did I miss that? Anyway, yeah, Richard's okay.
I love This Game Is
No,
Broken.
that was really cool.
I love all the people on that show.
Richard gave us a shout out.
Hey, that was pretty good.
I don't know.
So yeah, you guys, everyone go listen to This Game Is Broken, We're Not Wizards, and Death
And the
by
Incorrigible
Monsters.
Party.
They're all great
oh, wait,
shows.
you already are.
I mean, yeah.
They're a bunch of hacks.
T-HUD podcast.
No,
It's okay.
Incorrigible Party. No,
They couldn't produce a podcast to save their lives.
If you recorded the T-HUD podcast in Campbell's voice through its entirety, I would listen to it. Let's talk about the
Just
pop
heartless.
culture.
Well, to maybe weaken that blow a little bit, Leland, Elena's not a big podcast listener, so don't be offended.
I am perfectly all right with Elena not listening to a word I say because she doesn't do it for this podcast, so I wouldn't expect her to do anything else.
Hey, excuse me.
Unless you get her on a one-on-one where she's the focus, then she's all about it.
Oh, wait, let me get a picture of that face. I just need to have my camera ready. Oh, there you go.
Boy.
I got it. I'll post that on Twitter. You need to listen to the next after party.
I can't even.
That was deep. That was a
It's
deep
been a few
cut.
episodes since I chirped you, so I had to get one in there.
You know what? And I chirped first. I handle it really poorly, which is why, you know, with my brothers, they like love dishing it out because they just love. I always react. I can't not react, you guys. Unfortunately, my reaction was bad for podcasts. I just sat there not saying anything, looking at Leland with a death stare. You got me where it hurts, okay? But it's fun.
right in the ego, right where it hurts the most.
Don't you know I'm a big deal? Okay, Leland, I'm a big deal.
Everyone knows me in Barrack.
Everyone knows me, okay? I've got money. What do you want?
We really appreciate everybody who has been telling their friends, their family, their loved
Their
ones,
enemies.
their coworkers, maybe your enemies, because we've seen a ton of growth on our follows and listens and all that fun stuff. And we've seen some new iTunes reviews, which is awesome. We really appreciate that.
We just hit 1 million downloads the other day.
Yeah.
Yeah,
awesome.
baby.
1 million already?
That's
impressive.
Wait, the decimal point's not.
Oh, wait, 1 million? Math is hard.
If you're not aware, we are on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. Other places? Are we other places?
Redbubble.
Apparently, we're scrapping the butt plug
Redbubble?
stuff.
We also have a website.
Yeah, we forgot the
I
website.
really thought that I did a good job of plugging it, you guys.
We're putting up NPCs. We'll be putting up some maps. We'll be trying to update, the world a little bit there, and a little bit here and there as you can check that out. There, I did my part. Look at that.
My part's gonna be cut, isn't it?
No, it'll be at the end.
Yeah, that butt plug's great post-credits stuff.
Shaft was letting it all out.
It makes sense. The butt plug comes at the end.
It prevents anything from coming at the end.
No, we established this in a future episode. It's the ass end.
Oh, we did. I knew we talked about butt plugs. That's why I brought it
What
up.
was that? I don't remember that.
We definitely
I
did.
don't
Either.
You'll remember it when you edit.
Listener, have we mentioned butt plugs before? Please remind us, or was it off mic? Comment. Click like.
I think we broke Emily.
Click the bell. Subscribe. Hey, we do post our stuff to YouTube. I mean, it's there.
That's
whether
true.
anyone's
Yeah.
watching it or not. Oh, wait. They're not watching us. We should probably clarify that. We could never be recorded.
There's a
And
reason we're never
presentable.
live.
I'm sure
because-
the 5 of us should actually physically be in one place after this.
Watch out, Origins.
Come meet us at Origins.
Origins 2020, baby.
Come get your logo butt plug at Origins 2020.
Yes! I had to hand out! Yes!
Everybody calm down, okay? Follow us at Incorrigible Par on Twitter, at Incorrigible Party on Instagram, the Incorrigible Party on Facebook. We've got merch on Redbubble. Rep that Incorrigible Party gear, son. We don't have, what was it? Rocket launchers. We don't have rocket launchers.
Flamethrowers.
Flamethrowers. Okay. Go to Elon Musk
that's
for that.
Elon Musk, I think, does rocket
We
launchers and
also
flamethrowers.
post our stuff to YouTube. We would love it if you rate us and subscribe to us on wherever you get podcasts, iTunes. We have an email where you could email us any comments or questions when it comes to After Party. Hashtag AfterPartyIP on Twitter, correct?
Yep.
What's our email again? Incorrigibleparty@gmail.com.
Or contact@incorrigibleparty.com.
That's as good as you're going to get, folks. Have a good night.
I've been John and Shaft.
I've been Emily and Shakara.
I have been Bill and Falzarin.
I'm Elena, and I do nothing for the podcast.
And I'm Leland Steele. I do everything for the podcast. Happy adventuring.
Let's have...
Review us on iTunes.
Okay.
There you go.
Why doesn't that be your shtick? John will say follow us on Twitter. Emily will say... we have an Instagram.
I don't use Instagram, but you can follow us
Emily
there
will
too.
say we have an Instagram, and then I will make a comment saying, well, I don't do anything for the podcast, so whatever.
Oh,
Wow.
self-burn.
Well, that was a very good attempt at scripting a candid moment. I don't know how I could have got any better than that.
I mean, a loosely scripted still makes it candid, no?
You're right.
We should mention our Redbubble merch.
Yeah, we could do that.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind seeing more Incorrigible Party out in the
That would be
wild.
cool.
I might, like I said, I might. What the heck are you doing?
I don't know.
Was that you stabbing me with the knife?
It's either stabbing someone in the face or giving a beach. I don't know which one it was.
Well,
I was stabbing
gonna say,
myself.
If it's not one, it's the other.
Don't keep doing it.
I was stabbing myself like kill me now because I was trying to like make it, just like a cute, because like in the episode 62, John and Emily went back and forth and like they had give and take and you could tell they were married, and I was like, maybe for once we could be organized and John could say something, Emily could say something, Bill could say something, and like it's organized. That's what I was trying to do.
That makes sense.
Kill me now is what this was, but I'll just go like this instead.
No, it's this. That's what kill me now is, the gun to the head.
The gun to the mouth.
Yeah, that is something different.
Unbelievable.
Not the knife to the face with the lips.
Nope. Most people take that to mean something else, honey.
Mia is so naive. Oh my goodness.
Oh god.
Yeah.
My face hurts from smiling.
So I mean, I don't think we don't necessarily need to say everything in like our normal outro, right? It's just like,
Okay, yeah, it's fine. I just had to make it about me again,
yeah.
All right, I lost connection for a second. What the hell are we doing? I assume nothing was resolved. I've been John and Shaft. I've been John and Shaft. You can follow us on Twitter at Incorrigible Par.
It froze on him smiling, looking really happy.
I'm still good. Can you see me now?
Yeah.
No side movements, John.
Can you see me? Am I locked up for you?
No,
Yeah,
you're
good now.
No.
You should
All right.
you should try
Not
to kill
anymore.
yourself real quick and see what it looks like. It does not translate to podcast. It's hilarious.
No, but I'll take a picture of it and post it after your picture I just posted.
See, this is what would happen if we ever did one of these on YouTube Live or whatever.
Oh yeah,
For
we
sure.
definitely need to Twitch something at some point in time.
Oh, we should. We really should.
Probably
I'll
should
be on
not.
better behavior, I promise.
Okay. I've been John and Shaft.
Wait,
Follow us on
didn't do the
Twitter.
Wait, we're gonna do plugs.
Didn't do
Follow
the
us
thing
on
we just
Twitter.
talked about for 10 minutes.
I only heard about half of it.
Here we go.
What the hell am I supposed to do?
So, listener at home, speaking of plugs, Shaft could have used one in that tiny hut. We are at Incorrigible Par on Twitter. Follow us on Twitter for more comments about butt plugs. We are at Incorrigible Party on Instagram. Occasionally we post things there.
How do you keep your
We
farts
need to
in?
start
Let us
reaching out.
know.
Yeah, we have merch on Redbubble. We've got a pretty sweet logo. You can put it on anything you want. You can put it on a butt plug.
You know what? I was
think
going
they
to
have the
say,
butt plugs
I
yet.
freeze up for like 30 seconds. I come back and we're butt plugging it.
All right, where else are we at?
You guys
We're on
cannot be left
Facebook.
alone.
We're on Instagram. We're on all the things. You can email us at incorrigibleparty@gmail.com. And please rate us and review us on iTunes. And happy adventuring.
So that was a good practice.
Speaking of practice runs, no, just kidding. I'm done.
Am I supposed to do
I
anything else?
don't know what's going on anymore. We were so good up
perhaps
until
our
like an
worst.
hour and 15, and then it
This
like
podcast is broken. This podcast is broken.
this podcast is broken.
We are so broken. Oh, man.
Oh my god. Okay, that needs to be redone. That's gonna be a 10-minute
I tried
after
so
credit
hard.
scene.
I tried so hard to make it sound polished.
Okay, Bill. Give it one more go. I'll be
I
quiet.
feel like he doesn't have the memory for it. though.
Well, I have faith in him. This time is going to be perfect.
Why didn't we go with the original
right.
scripting? I swear.
Well, we could suggest to him the next thing that we
Scripting
are
is-
because Lynn can cut us out and just have Bill.
This is all going to stay in, you know. So go ahead.
No
Yeah.
way this is staying in.
You said there's no way it's staying in last time, and then
Oh,
it made it to
come
the
on.
episode.
Nah, you'll keep it in.
You'll keep
So on
it
the
in.
topic of
Speaking
plugs.
of butt plugs.
Bill, just keep talking.
Just-
Don't listen to
just keep
anything
Just
else
ignore her.
anybody is
Just
saying.
ignore
going.
her. Yeah, I can do this. I got this.
You ignore me most of the time. Come on, man.
Wait, what?
Yep.
You're saying on the topic
Lot
of
of
plugs,
practice.
like we had just talked about. Oh, because we had just talked about plugging the
Yeah,
other
we
people.
Well, I
Plugs.
assume everything's being cut out.
Speaking of keeping it in.
Now this game is broken will forever be synonymous with butt plugs thanks to the Incorrigible party.
I'm
This
sure
podcast
I'm sure
is
they can roll with
broken.
it. So on the topic of plugs, if you want, what was that?